Live from our news centre here in Moscow, 24 hours a day, you're tuned into RT International. I'm Ewan O'Neill. We start with breaking news. The UN says 88 people have been killed by Israeli strikes on Gaza since an offensive was launched on Tuesday. At least 18 among the dead are children, according to local health officials. Israel has vowed to step up attacks until Hamas stops firing rockets onto its territory.
ايش جنبه؟ ايش ذنبهم هدول؟ قاعدين في بيوتهم، ربنا ينتقم منهم، حسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل، حسبي الله ونعم الوكيل، ربنا ينتقم منهم. ابعد افتح الطريق.
At least 20 civilians are among the dead, reported by the Palestinian Health Ministry. Many targets destroyed by Israeli missiles have no obvious links to Hamas, but Israel accuses the organisation of using civilians as human shields. Israel is massing troops on the border and 20,000 reservists have already been mobilised. For more on the story, let's go live to journalist Harry Fear, who is in Gaza for RT. Harry, the number of Palestinians killed by Israeli airstrikes is climbing. Tell us what is happening there now.
Well, the sun's just setting now on this, the third day of Israel's latest operation on Gaza. As you just mentioned, the UN now reports that 88 Palestinians have been killed since the operation began. Local Palestinian human rights groups say 20 children have been killed and 10 women. It's very distinctive in the Palestinian situation here, reports of such great civilian casualties, including those of children. Now, among the civilian population at large, hundreds of Palestinian homes have been destroyed, and from the north to the south of the Gaza Strip, there has been aerial, naval and land bombardment since the operation began. Of significance in the last 2 days, last night Israel targeted, assassinated a driver of a media press vehicle here just hundreds of meters away from where I am speaking to you right now. This was an assassination which was successful. This gentleman was killed. Additionally, of significance, Israel basically attacked a cafe along the beach area in the Gaza Strip, and the local media here reports that this was specifically affecting a group of civilians watching the FIFA World Cup football matches, and there were 7 deaths reported in this incident as well. This, of course, is in stark contrast, the image here, to that of Tel Aviv and Israel at large. The moment no Israelis have been reported killed as a result of these hundreds of Palestinian rockets being fired from this coastal enclave. That 2 Israelis have been injured, but these extraordinary numbers in comparison to those on the Palestinian side, where we've seen hundreds of Palestinians injured, just 2 Israelis injured, is in large part down to the success of Israel's Iron Dome missile interception system, which is working very successfully and placed strategically inside Israel. Now, people in Gaza are fearful of an escalation. As I just said, the sun's setting here right now, and as natural during these operations, the attacks on Gaza, the targetings on Gaza will increase now the sun has set. It'll be most hot just after midnight, between 1 and 2 a.m. We'll suspect to see several attacks take place in a coordinated fashion across the Strip. Now, the key question is whether or not there's likely to be a ground escalation. Israeli military officials have alluded to the possibility of this. Whether or not this is just preparedness or actual strategy in the upcoming days is yet to be seen. But certainly in this Palestinian-Gazan context, Palestinians remember the 2008-2009 operation, which saw a ground invasion.
Harry Fear with the latest updates from Gaza. Thank you. Our Middle East correspondent Paula Sleer is keeping track of the rising tensions in the region as well. You can follow her Twitter account for minute-by-minute updates. Now, a little earlier, I spoke to Israeli Defense Force spokesperson Libby Weiss and asked why they're pursuing the offensive against Gaza despite mounting civilian deaths.
This is not an operation in any capacity against the people of Gaza. This is an operation against Hamas, against an organization that purposefully and specifically uses the civilian population of Gaza as human shields.
The point is that you're defending your people, but thankfully no Israelis have been killed by Hamas rockets in the last number of days. But let's just get some more figures, because in Gaza, at least 18 children died, according to local health officials. Also, since 2008, over 1,000 civilians were killed in Gaza. That's around 20 times more than the Israeli civilian death toll. Is Israel's reaction to rockets fired by Hamas measured and justified, therefore?
With 5 million men, women, and children living in shelters, that is something with which we cannot continue and which no other country would accept. We make unbounded efforts to protect the civilian population in the Gaza Strip before any attack is taken against Hamas. We take measures that no other military or no other country take in the world, which include text messages to people in civilian areas, phone calls to their homes. We do this because at the end of the day, again, the people in Gaza are not in any way the target.
But why then is the UN Security General urging Israel to show restraint, but Prime Minister Netanyahu is vowing to step up the offensive? So international calls, they're simply being ignored, aren't they?
Again, any calls about international claims really should be directed towards the Prime Minister.